What's going on, guys? This is Restless Corpse, and I'm going to be showing you the character creation for Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn. Now this is Phase 3, it's the new benchmark that just came out maybe 45 minutes ago. I downloaded it and I dicked around with it for a little bit, and as you can see I already made a character, but I'm going to go ahead and remake that just to show you the character creation options and whatnot. Now we were told we were getting more in Phase 4, but it doesn't look like we got anything new, so you've probably already seen this if you've searched for any videos, but I'm going to go ahead and show you mine, and let's get to it. Now, as you can see, you can play all of the different races. They're all unlocked for Phase 4, but they were for Phase 3 as well. But and you can also see that you can play any gender of any race, which is cool, because if any of you ever played Final Fantasy XIV, you know that the Mithra were only female and the Gulka were only male. So this time with the Rogaiden you can actually go female as well, which doesn't look as crazy as I thought it was going to look. I mean, her face is kind of jacked up, but overall she just looks like a normal female, which is, I think, pretty cool. And then when you go to the Miqo'te, the males pretty much just look like you would think a male of that race would look. It's not too crazy. They actually look pretty cool. Now, for the first time in an MMO for me, I'm going to be playing a race other than human, because every MMO I've ever played I've gone with human, like middle of the road. I figure they're supposed to be the most populated race in an MMO, so I always pick them because I know that most people don't. But this time around, because we have the chance to play a male Miqo'te, and I think the male Miqo'te looks pretty cool based on like his stances and stuff, I'm gonna go ahead and play a male Miqo'te this time, just for something different. Let's go ahead and look at the different things that you can do with the character creation here. You can make them do unique poses, which means they just go through like the emote poses, which is cool. You can put them in their underwear. I'm not sure why you'd want to, but some people are into that. You can go through the different areas and different times of day for those areas, and I guess that's just to see what they look like on that backdrop. But after showing you all of these, I'm just going to go back to the crystal looking one because that's the easiest to see them. And that, would be in your in. So we're gonna go ahead and stick with this just because it's easiest. We got to get him to stop moving around like that. So we're gonna go back to standing, and let's move on. So as you can see down here, that each faction has different stats. It seems like the Keepers of the Moon are more for casters. Since I'm going to be playing a Gladiator and moving on to Paladin, I'm going to go ahead with the Keepers of the Stun just because they have more strength, dex, and bit. And this stuff I'm not really that interested in. Obviously it needs to not be 0, and it's going to have some effects on Paladins, but these are your main stats for melee and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with the Keepers of the Seekers of the Sun because they have higher starting stats for those. Let's move on. Now I like to make my characters a little bit taller than the average, but I don't like it when they're super tall, so we're going to go ahead and go about middle of the road between average and super tall. And as you can see here, you have a pretty wide range of skin colors. I'm just going to go with like a standard skin color, but you can see here like the different ranges, and you can make them super pale or super dark. We're just going to go ahead with this middle one here and move on. Now, looking at the tails, all of these tails were in the Phase 3 character creation, so there's really nothing new, but I'll go ahead and go through them anyway. I like the bushy tail, so I'm going to keep that one, but we'll go through. I mean, a lot of these don't look that much different, so we're going to go ahead and go with the bushy tail. I think it looks cool. And remember, an MMO, for those of you who might not know, for me anyway, an MMO is 90% of it is just looking cool. So you got to do things that look cool, and that's why this character creation thing is important. Move, we're going to jack that tail up as long as possible. just so I can see it hanging out and doing its thing through the armor. Now these hairstyles, I already know which one I want, but we're going to go through them. This was one of the things that we wanted more of in Phase 4, and I guess it didn't happen. I was hoping for like a mohawk looking one. Maybe different races have that. I really haven't gone through any of that. Maybe I'll make another video and show the other races, but for now, let's see. This is the hairstyle of choice for me. And now that I have it selected, we'll go through and check out the other ones. Well, I guess I have to select it to move it around. But, so that one, not horrible. It just kind of looks like a little kid's haircut. This one would be cool if it weren't for the weird thing back there, but that's just me. You get your Caesar cut, which I suppose doesn't look that bad. Then you get into the ones with the weird hangy stuff, which I'm just not really a big fan of, but you know, hey, maybe you're into that. Got the He-Man look going on right there. Even more He-Man look. I kind of like this one, and it was like a second choice for me, but this is not the one that I'm going to go with. And then you start getting into these things, I don't know. Is that a beaver cut? Now, when I first played the Final Fantasy XIV, like 1.0, back in 2010, I played a human, or here, and this was the hairstyle I used, and I'm not real sure why, because I really don't like it. This is the hairstyle I'll be going with. This one's kind of cool. It's like a maxi cut, if you remember Soul Calibur. And I suppose that's cool. It's almost like a pompadour. It would be cool if, you know, they had thieves in the game, which they don't. But that would be a cool thief haircut. And then this one I just really can't get behind. So we're going to go ahead and stick with this one. Now when it comes to hair color, if you click this guy, it shows your highlights and it makes the hair a little bit cooler looking. You can go with any color you want. And, you know, do stuff like that. The highlights are just really tips, but it makes the character look a little cooler. So we're going to go with, I like the red with the black. Let's see if we can get a deeper red. There we go. That's going to be the guy. Alright, moving on. Now when it comes to these faces, again, that was kind of something that I wanted more of in Phase 4. But we still have the standard 4 faces. Now this face isn't that bad. I think this is the one that I used in Phase 3, so I might stick with that one again. This one makes him look a little bit tougher, but I'm not a big fan of that face. The nose, I guess I'm just not like a fan of that bridge and crazy nose. Then you got your baby face, which I don't want to use because it's a baby face. And this one's not bad. When I went through this just a second ago before I started recording, this is the one that I used, but I think I'm gonna go back to this guy up here. We'll stick with that one. It's just kind of like an average face, and it just looks cool with the whole like stance and everything that he's got going on. So I'm gonna go with that one. Looking at the jaw, and the jaw is what really makes the face. So let's see, Type 1, Type 2 kind of brings it in a little bit, which I think is a little better. Gives him less of a round face. And then Type 3 and 4 kind of mess with his chin, which I'm going to leave alone. So we're going to go with Type 2 here. With the eye shape, due to the fact that his hair is the way it is, you can't really see this, especially if, you know, in game, you're not going to be able to see it all that well. So it's not that important, but you want to try to give him something that doesn't look dopey. So I might go with that one there. I just don't like the eyes that are downturned like that. So I'm going to go ahead and give him Type 3 here. And we'll stick with the large irises. I mean, either way it looks cool, but I'm going to go ahead and go with the large there. Now the eye color I like to go with kind of like a gray, because that's, I don't know, maybe it's just because that's the way my eyes are, and that's what I think looks cool. go with that. And if you click the odd eyes, it just makes it so that you can change the other iris to a different color if you're into that. It does kind of look cool in some ways, but I'm going to go ahead and stick with the normal here. With the eyebrows are kind of important when you don't have hair covering them up, just because they kind of change the overall like expression of the face, I guess. You can, like, this one kind of looks like he's mad all the time, which I don't really want my guy looking mad all the time, so we're gonna go with this one. Kind of looks like, you know, he's sad with type 2, so I don't think I'm going to be using type 2. I really think that type 4 is the way to go, so type 4 is what I'm going to be using for this one. And this is already turning out different than my first jaunt here before I started recording. Alright, with his nose, now type 1's nose, based on his facial structure, is not that bad, but we're going to go through them all here. Type 2, you got the big nose, it just protrudes out a little bit more. We got a lower small nose, which also doesn't look bad. I might even go with type 3. Type 4 is just a smaller nose, which, I don't know, maybe if you were using the baby face would look kind of okay with it. Not a fan. We got another big nose, and this was like a type 4 but bigger, so I'm not going to go with that one. Type 6 isn't horrible. Let's go back up to type 3. I like type 3, so we're going to keep that one. Now with the mouth, this one, like 1 and 2 just seem kind of the same, just one has bigger lips. And 3 and 4 actually changed the shape of the mouth. I'm going to go ahead and go with 4 here, just because it gives him a smaller, like, non-Steven Tyler looking face, which is cool. And with the lip color, we're gonna go with none, because he's a dude, he's a tough dude, he's a gladiator, he's gonna be a paladin. He doesn't need to be wearing lip gloss. Now, because he is gonna be starting as a gladiator and a paladin, I want him to look like he's not fresh off the boat. So I'm gonna give him a couple scars here. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna give him all, well, I don't want that weird X. And I don't want his scars to be symmetrical, because that's kind of weird. Alright. And you know what? Sure. We'll give him a goatee. Why not? Makes him look cool, right? He's swarthy. Seem to be. I feel like these tattoos are different than last time I went through it. I like the 2 tattoos that come up right there. That's what I wanted. But for some reason, they're not showing up. Maybe it's because I chose the goatee. So we'll go back and check that. But for now, I don't like either of these tattoos, so I'm not going to pick either of those. So that makes the tattoo color irrelevant. And I don't like any of these face paints. They just kind of look weird. Looks like he's in drag there. And then when you get into these, they're just, you know, designs. And designs, I think, look kind of dumb. When you go down here, these are a little better. But I just think that I think it looks cooler without them, so I'm going to go ahead and just stick without it. Now, obviously, reverse would just put it on the other cheek. But, I mean, this one's cool. I mean, I like Xenogears, and it kind of looks like that. This one's pretty alright. Looks like he's going into battle. This one looks like he's in a David Bowie video, which is pretty cool. But I'm just going to go ahead and stick with none of them, which makes the face paint color irrelevant. And then we go through the voices here. Now, since I'm making a gladiator, it's going to be kind of tough. I want him to sound tough, but I don't want him to sound so tough that he doesn't sound like a Miqo'te. So this is obviously not going to work. And we got, you know, so you don't have to listen to every voice while he's like grunting like he's trying to take a shit. You can go through these different ones. I kind of like Type 3. He sounds pretty tough, but I'm going to keep going here. I believe that's the one I used in Phase 3. It sounds, you know, it's just a little deeper there. Alright, I kind of like 6, but I think I'm going to stick with 5. And that's it sounds like a psycho. Maybe I should go back to the sound like he's taking a shit, because that just sounded a little perverted and weird. But see, when you do that, you can kind of tell that somebody's sound a little psycho. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and stick with Type 5 there. Oh, well, that kind of ruined it. But anyway, that was the character creation, and this is the end product that I chose the first time. As you can see, he's got the tattoos that I wanted. So that's good. I'm going to go ahead and stick with that. And once again, this was the character creation for Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn Phase 4, the benchmark. And I am Restless Corpse. And if you like this video, go ahead and rate, comment, subscribe, give it a like, and I'll see you guys in Phase 4.